$150.
The colony of seals that we have in here, of Weddell seals, represents the furthest south the mammal population exists in the world. There's a tremendous amount of variability in how many pups, how many offspring are produced by individuals. And that's part of what this study's all about, trying to understand natural selection and the evolutionary pressures on a population of seals in this extreme environment.
In some years, depending on the ice conditions, the females might be a little bit heavier when they arrive, so they tend to wean larger pups. The average pup that's born here has a very good chance of surviving if the mom was healthy and big when she came in and transfer a lot of body mass to the pup.
The real business at hand is just feeding off mom, and you can see now some of these moms. You see how much skinnier they look? Now look at her compared to some of these other seals that probably haven't nursed. And imagine that she was great, big and rotund just a month ago, and she's lost all that weight. And now she's going to have to go back into the marine environment and feed on a lot of fish to gain back that tremendous amount of weight she just invested in her pups, so that she can come back and do it all over again. We're going to go to a headland called Turk's Head, and that's where our biggest seal colony is. We're heading over there because we have some specific females that are just weaning their pups, and we need to take some photographs of them to estimate their weight so that we know how much mass, how much weight they transferred to their pups over that 40-day period when they were nursing. We're standing on the ocean. The ice here is probably about 25 feet thick right now, multi-year sea ice. But underneath that ice is anywhere between 300 to 500 meters depth of water. The tide crack is that broken wall of ice that you see. This ice we're standing on goes up and down with the tides. That ice over there is frozen to the island. That stress has to be released on these tide cracks. These seals couldn't get access to the sea ice surface if some physical process hadn't already broken the ice. The colonies are always produced in the same places because the tide cracks are always in the same places. So the seals haul out all along the tide cracks and give birth to their pups.
So what we've done is we've weighed the pups when they're born. And then we've weighed them again at 20 days, and now we're at 40 days, which is approximately the time of weaning. So we're just gonna walk along and look for specific pups.
When Weddell seal pups are born, they weigh about 60 to 70 pounds. Their mom will be nursing them with a really very fatty milk, let's say about a month. The weight transfer between mom and pup is about 50%. So if the pup is gonna gain 200 pounds of weight, that means mom has shed 400 pounds of weight during the same time period. And the more body weight it has, the more reserves it has to sustain itself until it develops those effective feeding patterns and knows where to go to feed. It's essentially driving the dynamics of the system, who lives and dies, who's successful and who isn't. And so that's why part of our science is measuring seals.
You want to approach from the backside of the animal, just to kind of stay away from the head. Even though they're pups, these are predatory animals with big sharp teeth. So imagine being bit by a 300-pound dog. Not a good thing.
When we're weighing the pups, we always use 2 people, and we have a large bag that's dark inside, and we're able to zip it up so the animal's in a confined spot. They can't toss around.
Here we go.
We have a weigh scale and a bar, an aluminum metal bar. We put the bar on our shoulders, so there's 2 people. Each one of us have one end of the bar, and we just lift the bag up off the ground with the seal in it.
Okay, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Swinging. And 160. 160.
It can be pretty heavy. We've had one pup that's around 300 pounds, and that's pretty large.
Come on out, little guy. Another happy customer.
I kind of have to remind myself in working with these animals is that they're a top predator. They seem so docile and so relaxed, presumably with the thought, if you will, that, oh wow, those are just big penguins in reference to us.
This is our photogrammetric system. At the bottom is a digital camera, which is connected to this, which is a control box. It has an LCD screen so I can see what the camera sees. Ready? All right, and the reason why we're doing this is to estimate the mass of the female with trying to be as least invasive as possible without disturbing her. The position we like to have the females in is the position you see now, laying on her side, with her head down, as relaxed as possible.
What a lot of people don't realize about science, you think there's this eureka thing, all of a sudden one day you make a discovery, and that might happen in some sciences, but for what we do in wildlife science, that's not the way we make discoveries. What you're doing is you're looking for patterns in numbers.
We have an image program that we use in the computer, and I pull up the best pictures of the day, and I use that to measure the pictures. And then when I get the measurements from that, I put it into a model, and that gives us their mass.
We have 18,000 seals over 40 years that have been tagged in this study. And over again, we go out there and resample those seals, see where they are, whether or not they pupped, whether they lived, died. And it's only through that redundancy of continuing to make repeated observations under different conditions that you start seeing the patterns. And once you see patterns, then you can hypothesize what's driving those patterns. My favorite seal characteristic is probably just when you see them in the water. They just seem so perfectly adapted to an environment that would be completely hostile to us. And it just is a demonstration of just how fine-tuned all animals are, insects, animals, plants, to the environment in which they live. We look at this as an extreme harsh environment, but to them, they're so well adapted to this environment that it would be like your backyard. You're very comfortable in your backyard, sitting on your lawn chair or playing on your jungle gym, and these seals are just as comfortable as you are in your backyard in this what seems to be an extremely hostile environment.